So, what's the problem with fashion this season? Sooner or later, it leaves. And what images come to mind when someone mentions the Roaring 20s? This original early 1900s postcard absurdly suggests that you can judge a woman's personality by her hair colour, which in itself is incredibly flawed, and then you think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, women can dye their hair any colour they wish today. It's so easy to focus in on one particular look in the 1920s, at the expense of all the hundreds of other haircuts that were also incredibly popular. In this video, I want to show you a side of the Roaring 20s that is often overlooked.
I think it's time. Yes, it's time to bring history back to life.
Cool, it's amazing.
Dreamer Cats TV.
If you believed all the stereotypes that the mass media spins, you'd be forgiven for thinking that when the clock struck midnight, heralding in the Roaring 20s, women somehow instantly cut their hair short and cast off their uncomfortable Victorian corsets there and then, celebrating their newfound freedom by dancing the night away. In truth, the past isn't quite as simple as that, and many women in the 1920s kept their hair long, as shown on these original 1920s trade cards from my own personal collection. There were always ways of making their hair look short without them actually resorting to the scissor treatment also. The sensationalistic tabloid press has a tendency to oversimplify and distort the truth, selectively choosing the bits that chime with our current times the most. The world isn't as black and white as that. Things don't normally change suddenly between New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Although undeniably short hairstyles became increasingly popular as the decade went by, quite a few women still hung on to their long hair. I think it's much more interesting browsing through actual items from that period that show us how rich and surprisingly diverse it really was compared with the predictable media image. We're often told that the flappers rejected the previous generations. Even that's not entirely true, since the 1920s fashionistas were also heavily influenced by ancient Egypt, with the grand opening of Tutankhamun's glittering tomb, as mentioned in many of my previous videos. Like today, they too were fond of the past. Okay, now you've made it that far, you might want to see some of my most popular 1920s themed videos. The first one is the nemesis, the complete opposite of this video, covering the short, iconic, timeless bobbed hairstyle. The second video is devoted to men's hairstyles and fashions. And the third one is for those of you that like the freakiest, most over-the-top fashions from the 1920s. Headpieces and headbands seem to be extremely popular during that magical period. Click on the fourth one to see some of the most amazing ones.